Hey guys, want to take a look at saturation and saturation with plugins. I know there's a lot of people out there and they talk about plugins and saying you really should only feed them minus 18 dB full scale, 0 VU. And that's pretty much good advice because a lot of plugins won't handle a higher volume and they won't actually perform at their best. On the other hand, I do have a few plugins here today that actually do saturation and they do it really well. Now, if you're trying to get good saturation, not just a saturation plugin, but let's talk about tape saturation. Let's talk about transformer saturation, and let's talk about tube saturation. Now, I've got some examples of all of those just with a simple 80s MIDI drum beat, a little bit of reverb, obviously. Well, let's just say a lot of reverb. It's the 80s, right? And just have a listen to how they sound. So you've got the original dry signal, and then you've also going to have the saturation signal. Now, these can actually be pushed. You can push things as far as you want, and of course that's going to change the tone. Now, I've level matched all of these so that they're all going to sound different, but they're all at the same peak volume. Okay, so they're not the same RMS volume, but the same peak volume. So you can get an idea of what saturation can do. There's a number of different things it can do in regards to like a compression. It can do like limiting. It can do a whole bunch of cool things, change the tone and the feel and the vibe of your track. So saturation, let's dive on in and let's have a listen. Well, there you go. Now, I'm not saying that any one of these forms of saturation is actually better than the other, but they all have their uses. And this was just one level. Now, you can actually dial in more saturation. You can get different tones by doing that, and different things happen to the audio. And this is where the experiment now is passed over and handed on to you so that you can take these plugins and grab them for yourself, take a listen to what they do to your signal, how they bring things alive, and how they compress, how they add harmonics, all those things that we're used to out in the real world that don't always happen inside our door. And here's a good opportunity to get out there and experiment for yourself. So I hope the video has been helpful for you. Please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. It'll be good to catch you on the next video soon. Cheers and happy mixing.